I can still remember how that city used to make me smile. And I knew if I'd had my chance that I could make those people dance, and maybe they'd be happy for a while. But downtown murders made me shiver with every tribune I deliver. Bad news on the doorstep, I couldn't take one more step. I can't remember if I cried when I read about Lightfoot's wounded pride. Something touched me deep inside the day Chicago died. So bye-bye, Lori Lightfoot, goodbye. Drove my Tesla to the magma, but the magma was dry. And the MAGA boys were making Jussie cry, singing, this'll be the day that I lie. This'll be the day that I die.
Welcome to the Beau Show, the home of faith, family, and freedom. Today's show, as evidenced by my opening song, focuses on the tenure of Lori Lightfoot, the mayor of Chicago, who has been voted out by the citizens of the Windy City. Lightfoot was born in Ohio in a mostly white neighborhood on the west side of Massillon. Now, why is that important? Well, because later, when I tell you about how the media has eulogized her downfall, they will use race and orientation as discriminating factors. In high school, she organized a boycott of the school lunch due to the quality of pizza, and allegedly it worked because the pizza became more flavorful. While an undergrad, her brother Brian was arrested for bank robbery and shooting a security guard. Perhaps this was just a taste, albeit too close to home, for the future city that she would run. She was awarded a full scholarship to the University of Chicago's law school, and then went on to become a lawyer at the Mayer Brown law firm, eventually serving as assistant U.S. attorney for the Northern District of Illinois, in part to represent the black community, but also due to her brother's run-ins with the law, who was charged with possession of crack with intent to distribute. As a federal prosecutor, she helped prosecute drug crimes and even Chicago corruption, which has been a consistent staple of the city's governance. When I attended Northwestern University in Evanston, which is just on the north shore of Chicago, I remember hearing about the significant corruption in city politics, which is why Chicago became known as the Windy City. Not for the blustery wind that blows off Lake Michigan, but the full of hot air, corrupt politicians. In 1999, Lightfoot was issued a warning for misconduct by Judge Richard Posner in a case in which she was found by the United States Court of Appeals for the Seventh Circuit to have misled a circuit judge regarding a suspect's whereabouts, making it impossible for the judge to stay the suspect's extradition to Norway. Remember this, because it won't be Lightfoot's only instance of misconduct, but it is significant that she would do this as a federal prosecutor. In 2002, Lightfoot was appointed chief administrator of the Chicago Police Department Office of Professional Standards, a police oversight group, in which she was tasked with reviewing cases of police misconduct, well before Colin Kaepernick ever took a knee. And in two controversial cases, Lightfoot went against precedent. And what we don't really know is to what degree she was enticed or coerced to do so. Thereafter, Chicago Mayor Richard Daley appointed her to the Office of Procurement Services, looking into more Chicago corruption, including Governor Rod Blagojevich, and even Daley's own donors, which he did not like. Going back into private practice at Mayor Brown, Lightfoot represented two Republican clients regarding Democrat gerrymandering. In 2015, Mayor Rahm Emanuel appointed Lightfoot to the Chicago Police Board, overseeing more cases of police misconduct. Although she apparently increased police firings, she was accused of a lack of transparency. However, in 2018, she decided to run for mayor. becoming what others have heralded as the first black female and the first openly lesbian mayor of the city. By 2019, of course, identity politics were in full swing. So she hit the trifecta, black, female, and lesbian. In the very testy election, both the Chicago Tribune and the Chicago Sun-Times endorsed Lightfoot for mayor, an endorsement they should regret. Although she ultimately won, voter turnout was not even 33%, a record low. This goes to show you not just how little Chicago cared, but how willing they were to allow Lightfoot to become mayor, not really understanding what she would do or not do for the city. They just didn't participate in the process. In a June 2021 report, Chicago led the nation in mass shootings, averaging 1 per week. Now think about that. When the media reports mass shootings, they focus on suspects that are usually white and male, which sadly does happen. However, in those shootings, which often come from teen mental illness, they dwarf in frequency and number of deceased in comparison to the city of Chicago. Chicago has seen some of the worst crime statistics in the entire country. During the pandemic, Lightfoot and Governor J.B. Pritzker locked Chicago down. She also created the Racial Equity Rapid Response Team, which, as you can tell from basic science, does not slow the spread to anyone, especially other races. All you need to hear is the word equity, which means a guarantee of outcome. But let's be honest. The only guarantee during COVID was that vaccines were ineffective and lockdowns killed businesses, regardless of the race of the business owner. Lightfoot extended public school closures beyond the government mandate. We all know that that was a poor decision. And because she cannot practice what she preaches, she violated her own citywide stay-at-home order to get her hair cut. Her response? She argued that she was justified in doing so, saying, quote, "I'm the public face of this city. I'm on national media, and I'm out in the public eye," unquote. So she's telling her citizens that her personal appearance is more important than their well-being or ability to be mobile and live their lives. She made Chicago a sanctuary city, ensuring that citywide benefits went to illegal aliens. After Joe Biden's victory in November of 2020, she was criticized for celebrating the victory in a large gathering after she had just issued new stay-at-home advisories. Once again, a mayor who has two different sets of rules. This is how you know that Democrats like Lori Lightfoot never took the pandemic seriously. They did what they thought they should do to appear authoritative, not the correct or scientifically sound thing to do. Here's some leaked audio from a conference call between Lightfoot and city leaders to talk about Chicago's response to looting during the 2020 summer BLM riots.
Half our neighborhoods are already obliterated. It's too late. We have to come up with a better plan, because my fear is once they're done looting and rioting and whatever's going to happen tonight, God help us, what happens when they start going after residents, going into the neighborhoods? Once they start trying to break down people's doors who they think they got something, we know that people are here to antagonize and incite, and you've got them all pumped today. They're not going to go to bed at 8 o'clock. They're going to turn their focus in the neighborhoods. I've got gangbangers with AK-47s walking around right now, just waiting to settle some scores. What are we going to do?
I think you're 100% full of what I think. If you think
no offense, you then.
Hold on.
Who are you to tell me I'm full of
And if you think we were not ready and we stood by and let the neighborhood go up, there's nothing intelligent that I can say to you.
Well, maybe you should come out and see what's going on.
One of the stupidest things I have ever heard. I understand you want to preen. I understand that you think that you...
Mayor, you need to check your attitude. That's what you need to do.
That's the kind of leader Lori Lightfoot has been. Grip the press podium and cuss your alderman out for telling you the truth. Lightfoot conveniently did not allow protest on the block where she lives. Again, rules for thee, but not for me. On her 2-year anniversary as mayor, Lightfoot declared she would only choose reporters of color for interviews. Judicial Watch sued Lightfoot on behalf of the Daily Caller, alleging Lightfoot violated journalist Thomas Capnacci's First and 14th Amendment rights. You don't get a better example of discrimination than that. to box out reporters solely based upon race. This is how Chicago White Sox fans greeted her.
Establishing the Racial Equity Rapid Response Team and the COVID-19 Recovery Task Force. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting the game ball for today's ceremonial first pitch, please give a warm welcome to Chicago's own Mayor, Lori E. Lightfoot.
Lots of boos. In the 2023 mayoral elections, Lightfoot came in third. But perhaps the best roast of Lightfoot came just recently, when Chicago reporter William Kelly spoke directly to Lightfoot after her election defeat. Listen.
What you've done to me is nothing compared to what you've done to my city, the city of Chicago, the city that I was born and raised in, the city that I love with all my heart. You became mayor. The people of Chicago elected you. You shut down our schools. You shut down the churches. You shut down the businesses. You did the one thing that I thought could never happen. As somebody who was born and raised on the south side of Chicago, I never thought in my life that I would ever see the city of Chicago brought down so low as you have managed to bring it down. Shame on you. That is a legacy that you are going to have to carry. Future historians are going to have a hard time understanding how you ever even became mayor of the city of Chicago. I intend to write that book. I intend to make sure that at least there is some possible way for the city of Chicago to move forward. I hope that you realize what damage you have done to the city. I hope that after today's city council meeting, you will pack your suitcase and get the hell out of my city.
This was a blistering account of Lightfoot's tenure as mayor. What Kelly said is sadly so true for the citizens of Chicago. The real pandemic, according to Kelly, was the mayor, not an invisible virus.
Keep watching at epochtv.com/The Beau Show.